What?
They really don't. They just like the idea of having somebody like me.
Sure.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Sure.
They don't, because the minute I am not
Sure.
nurturing or strong or
Sure.
whatever, yeah.
Do you find that out as you're
in it, where he now no longer wants to talk to you anymore.
So there's never a point where I could say, we've become one.
Yes, yeah.
Because I don't know who she is at 40. I don't know who she is at 50.
Sure.
I don't know who she is with 2 kids. I know who she is with 1 kid. Wow. She didn't know me as a father before.
Yeah. And that's also a real reality now in your 30s, where you're going to come across people which will probably have a child or whatever.
Or 2, yeah.
Yeah, or 2, or 3. I mean, if it's 4, I'm like, where do we go to from here?
What are we doing, my dog?
And
what are you going to do with me? You need to go be a father.
1, 2, 3, 4.
What's good, beautiful people? Welcome to 2.5 Husbands, where we celebrate becoming better husbands.
It's 2.5, even though there are 3 husbands, and that's because at some point, one of us, if not all of us, was not fully the husband that we were supposed to be.
And that's why we actually come here on a weekly basis to discuss some of the issues that we face, some of the issues we are seeing around us, and we hope that the journey that we started with you and for you is going to benefit you,
and yours.
All right, dope. Sune.
Hey, Black.
How are you, dog?
I'm good.
Good.
I left my mom today, and she was like, "Oh, you're going to Blackie." And Lucy.
Make me sound like a township dog.
Blackie, oh yeah.
Yeah, so this is the first time we actually have a friend of the podcast.
Yay!
I found out through the grapevine, aka my wife, that you watch us religiously.
I really do. I really do. I want to know, what is this thing about, what are husbands saying?
Come on now.
Because, you hear a lot from, like, wives. I guess it's also because I'm a woman and I'm around them. But, yeah, I wanted to know.
Yes.
And, it's serious, but not that serious, right? In marriage, guys.
Yes,
Okay,
yes. Yeah, that's dope.
Yeah.
It's actually quite cool that there's a lot of, there's a lot of single people that watch our content.
Yeah.
And we never said it's for married people. We said it's for anyone who will find value in it.
Yeah.
But the more I engage with people, the more I realize that there's a lot of single people that watch our stuff and benefit from it. And you're one of them.
Yeah. No, 100%.
And sometimes it can feel like once, and I'm just going to be blunt, once you cross the line and you this side of the relationship conversation, so this side being marriage, you kind of forget what like single life used to be.
Yeah. Yeah, guys. It's the Wild West. It is the Wild
And
West.
I hear it's getting wilder and wilder and wilder and wilder.
I prefer to drink water and sit in my car. I was literally like, you know what, God, you're going to have to, like, this man is going to literally have to drop from the sky.
Come on.
I'm not going anywhere.
Sure.
I don't, it's so bad that I don't even know when somebody's, like, shelling me anymore.
Yeah.
Like, this one guy was asking me out on a date, and I'm like, why are we going there?
Yeah. What is this?
Is this work related?
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I want to get to know you. I'm like, oh. Huskies, what do I say now? Yeah, no, it's
crazy.
real out there. Yeah.
So we're gonna dive into the, take a deep dive into the world of singleness.
Yeah.
And I think this episode is obviously one to shout out to everybody who watches us.
Yes.
Again, you being on the podcast as a friend, this is dope. So we want to just say thank you for supporting, for following, for commenting, for listening. But to also just be like, yo, man, as we also try and navigate what being better husbands looks like, it's also cool to just be like, yo, man, pause, think about, you guys,
right,
as singles, and kind of hear where you guys at, how we can help, pray.
Yeah.
If there's any advice that we can give of how you navigate you know, where you at, the stage of life that you at. You know, because like I think people tend to think if you're single, you don't have any advice for married people, which I don't believe. Or if you married, you don't have any advice for single people. I'm like, I still don't believe that. I think we should be speaking into each other's lives in whatever season that we're in. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like that's what they did also in the Bible.
Yeah.
Like we do funny things now. Like things which were done in the Bible, we're not doing them. And it's like, why are we doing this to each other?
No, hundreds. You know? I know I'm about to say something and I know what the pushback will be. Because I'm like, Paul was single, but he could speak into people's marriage.
Yeah.
And the pushback will be, but he was an apostle.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Oksalayo, if you've got the word of God
Exactly.
and God gives you wisdom,
Exactly.
surely you can advise here and there.
Right?
Yeah.
He even said himself, like, yo, man, this is not God's word in 1 Corinthians, where he's like, I think 7. But if it was up to me, all of you would be single. Right?
Oh, that it actually bothers me. I wish he never said things like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wish he said something like, guys, it's better for everybody to be married.
Yes.
Mara, if you don't want to, you know, I wish it was the other way, you know, because the other side.
Why?
Because I feel like now it kind of gives, I guess it's that feeling of you want straight answers.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
You want to know, am I supposed to be married or am I not? And if it was a commandment, at least you would know, it's on God now.
Yeah.
He has to send me somebody. Nothing else. It can't be another story. It has to be this one. You know what I'm saying? So in Paul saying so, I was just like, the first time I read that, I'm like, I give false humility.
Yeah.
That's false humility. You don't have to be humble like that, Paul.
Come on
you
now.
know? So it makes me feel away. But that's with a lot of scripture though.
Yeah.
Not just on marriage. Because there's
just
so much that happens in the Bible.
Yeah.
And then there's marriage. And I feel like in life and in church, they make marriage like the so much.
Yeah.
And then everything else is like dribs and drabs. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So that's why I say that there's a lot of things that we're doing that are not what they were doing in the Bible.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? So,
as a single lady, how do you feel about that? The truth that people tend to, and I think it's just in society at large that people tend to make marriage like the ultimate thing to live up to and to live for. You know? As though if you're not married, like there's something wrong with you. You know, which then I think undermines the stage of life that you're in, which is your singleness. But how do you feel about that? Like in the church, outside the church, anywhere in society, you know, people tend, I mean, even people who are in a relationship who are not single, they tend to make that like, I was talking to my sister, she's 17, and she was just telling me about how some of her friends who are dating, which I'm like, I don't know what you're doing at 17 dating, because this thing is complicated, but anyway. And how her friends then suddenly make that relationship the end and be all of their lives, and they stop hanging out with her. And, you know, it's all about the boyfriend now. It's all about what they're doing with the boyfriend, et cetera, And I'm like, you're 17. You're supposed to be enjoying your friendship with your friend. True. But now they've made this relationship like their end and be all. How does that work for you? How have you experienced that? What are your thoughts on some of that?
Look, I think it goes in stages, this thing. I know as a teenager, I actually liked my freedom in terms of, in fact, let me not use the word freedom, because now it seems as if being married is not free or being in a relationship is not free. But I didn't want to be with anybody, you know, as a teenager. Maybe I developed a bit slower. I don't know. I just enjoyed, I enjoyed being around my mom. I enjoyed being around my friends. I enjoyed just living, you know. And then I got into my 20s. And in your 20s, I still don't think there's a lot of pressure there. You know, I know people say there is, but I never felt the pressure of needing to be in a relationship, you know? I think this thing has really become very difficult after 30. It's almost like that's when the chickens come to roost for whatever reason. And I realized that being a single woman, I've had to fight for my dignity. Quite a lot. And I say that in the sense that there are threats of you're already over 30, you can't be selective anymore, you know? And these threats are not said exactly how I'm saying it, but it's those...
To even call it threats.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Sure.
It's said in that sense of take whatever you can find now, you know, even in Christ.
Yeah.
Because I think people think because we are all Christians, we don't have a choice to say, hey, I actually don't, our personalities, we don't get along.
Yeah.
You can't just be a Christian.
You love Jesus, but I don't find you attractive.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Or you love Jesus, but hey, this is like hard religion. You know, this is like, doom and gloom all the time. Like, even if I'm happy, then that's also a problem. That I'm happy. You know what I'm saying? So the fact that after 30, people think you don't have choices anymore, that you can't say, I actually want somebody who's 1, 2, 3, you know? And then also it's the assumption that there's something wrong with you.
That you haven't been in a relationship.
You haven't been in a relationship. And worse off, you are looking for a relationship where you're not going to have sex before marriage. Our way. Like, what is
Who
this? Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's never going to happen for you, Sane. And then it's all of these... there's something wrong with you. You know what I'm saying? There's an illness, or you are hurt by daddy issues, or you are a toxic woman, you know, or your standards are too high. And these standards are like Christian standards. Like, where you're like, you're not supposed to be having sex before marriage. We are supposed to all not be doing this, you know? So I think it's just fighting for my dignity, fighting with my mind, knowing that, okay, I'm 34 now, I'm turning 35 this year. What does that mean for my reproductive process? You know, I want to have children one day. I want to be married one day. So it's fights from the outside world. It's fights within your mind. And I think it's, to a certain extent, being a little bit disgruntled with God from time to time, you know? But I think, and it's not just fighting for my dignity within Christian circles, but also cultural circles. You know what I'm saying? This thing of, you and your cousin were like as thick as thieves, but now because she's getting married, I have to take a step back because I'm not mature enough to be her friend, because I don't know why. You know what I'm saying? It's just like she's entering holy ground now.
When
Whether
she
you're
said,
in the streets.
I do, your brain stopped working.
Like we just...
You don't have anything to
you know,
put into
there's
it.
nothing. So it's just all of these threats coming from gens, coming from elders, coming from the church, coming from your own insecurities, you know, that you like it's I say more times than often, I feel like I have to defend my dignity, my mind, my stance, things like that.
That's bug, man. I'm like, so obviously, like growing older, and I think hearing what you're saying, I couldn't help but think, I feel like there's more pressure because you're a woman. Because I'm like, as a guy, obviously I'm not single, but I have single friends. Like, they don't seem to have this kind of pressure. Even after 30, they just like, I mean, there's options, you know, like I'll find a girl or whatever the case is. And they're not thinking about the biological clock. They're not, again, the thing of options, which I didn't really get. Somebody else said, you know, guys have a lot of options. And I was like, until we went on a camp a couple of weeks ago, and we were sitting in a circle, bunch of us guys, girls, right? And basically how the circle started was this one girl had and if you're watching this, I'm not going to expose you, but anyway, by calling out your name. But she had a list of what kind of guy she wants. And I think she had 15 things on that list. But then some of those things you could double click on, and they have their own list. And then one of the guys in the circle was like, listen, man, like obviously statistically there's more women in the world than men. And then when you come to the church, that's very clear. We see that. And so there's more options for guys than it is the other way around. And so guys are not pressured to, you know, get into a relationship or whatever the case is, because they're like, it's going to happen. There's many people, right? But obviously for you, it's like, shucks. Right? There's, in a circle of 10 people, there's probably like 7 women and 3 guys. And out of the 3, you're probably not even attracted to any of them. It's like maybe there's one who maybe has some potential, but then it's like, really, am I gonna just settle because there's no one else? So I think I'm just coming to realize more and more, and the picture's becoming more clearer that just it feels like for girls, just there's a lot of pressure, a lot of threats, as you put it. Right?
And I think so. Here's the thing. I think like men are. So there's a lot of men in the sense that, how do I say? There are options in the sense that people are talking to you.
Yes.
You get what I'm saying? Like people are shelling you left, right, and center. I mean, the postman today shell at me. You know what I'm saying? So like I guess also with the age that I'm at, I guess I'm in that place where you can be shelled by somebody who's 51 and also shelled by somebody who's 25, and you're like, oh, I don't know what to do with all of this, you know. And by the way, that's me. Like, I'm never shelled by somebody who's like
your age.
My age, or at least 2 years older. It's either like in their 40s or like a 25-year-old. And I'm like, I don't want to. It feels like now I'm your child or I'm your mom.
I'm your mom.
Like, I don't know why. I want my age proved. You know what I'm saying? So,
guys, we're gonna put Sunny's number on the screen.
No. Also, don't do that.
If you are in your 30s.
Please, guys.
2.5 just became
and
a dating show.
Not from like you're somewhere in prison texting me. Like, be like in your 30s during life.
my horror love story.
Please. So that's the dilemma I'm in. You know what I'm saying? But I think there are options. I think even for guys, I think they do struggle with finding somebody who they can say is a quality person.
Sure.
Because one of this thing of we've gotten into this place, and I think this is why dating is so dangerous now, that it's always I need to one up you, or it's a conditional thing, and it's like men, you can't date women with children.
Shucks.
It's like, but what if that person, is brought to you by Christ and all of this stuff, and you're going to live and have a beautiful marriage? You don't know that. Or I can't date him because he's just broke.
Shucks.
But what is the quality of the person that I'm dealing with here? Yes, I can see your financial situation. And what if your financial situation is great, but then somewhere along in the marriage you become disabled or something where you cannot. So there's so many terms and conditions to this whole thing of dating, and people don't want to be hurt. People want to make sure that you are not hurting me, so I'm going to one up you and all of this stuff, and
Sheesh.
So I think that is it. That is what makes the pool smaller. It's not necessarily that they're not there.
Okay.
It's that it's becoming smaller because of people who are not there, who believe in long suffering or patience or kindness. You know what I'm saying? I always say, Yazi, the one thing which really moves me about my mom is that she's always somehow able to be kind to you even when she's upset at you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That thread never, you know what I'm saying? And like shouting, but even her words, she's collecting them. She's not saying you're a failure or you're this or you're that,
That's great.
And so I think the pool becomes smaller because those traits are missing now. Now it's about vibes and Instagram and showing you that I am, you know what I'm saying? And how can I hurt you worse? I mean, people will go online and boast about how they know that somebody's in a relationship, but they're doing something with that person behind the partner's back. And that's something to be proud of.
Wow.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think that's what closes the pool, And then when you're Christian, things like, I've met really nice guys which were ready to marry me now.
Sure.
But what type of relationship is that going to be if we don't agree with this Christ thing? I came from a home where the one parent believed in the underground gang, and the one parent believed in God, and I saw what that conflict was, And I'm not saying that if you're in marriages like that, that you cannot pray for your partners. Please do. Don't get divorced,
Sure.
But for me, it's important to have somebody who can actually be praying for me and understand when I say, I want to go to church. I just want to praise God. I just want to pray today. I just want to, or I don't know. Everything to do with like being in Christ. Somebody who can carry that.
Yeah. I mean, we said this, I forgot what, I mean, it's probably a bunch of episodes that we repeat that, but it's important that your worldviews are the same.
Yeah.
Because that's where a lot of, I think, toughness comes in marriage. If we can't even agree how to do marriage together, you have a set of beliefs and values and ways of seeing the world that's different from mine.
Yes.
So even how we're supposed to do this thing comes from two different vantage points. It's just going to make it harder. Already, with two people who are different coming together.
That's already a thing.
That's going to be hard.
Yeah.
So now if we're already not meeting at each other on what this thing is supposed to be, I think that just going to make it, it's going to be rough.
And even if you guys are believers in Christ, that's also a big thing. Like he can't, like if he is a ZCC and I'm from a completely different denomination, that can cause a lot of conflict. You know what I'm saying? And we just think it's just Christianity, but there's a lot going out on there in the Christian I guess, world. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So there are many things you do need to agree upon. A man who is very conservative, maybe from believes that, no, you can't be an actor. You must be a stay-at-home wife.
Yeah.
Do you get what? Sure. So it's you have to even agree even in these things. You know what I'm saying? That's why I said that this one is an actual one. It's a miracle. It has to be a miracle.
I mean, that alone is just like 5 episodes.
Yeah.
Not even like sit down and match those things.
Yeah, because there's some wild things out there.
No, hundreds.
People say crazy things. Yeah.
Sune, what's your list?
My list. Where's my? I had that before. To be honest with you, I don't think I've ever had a list.
Okay.
And my list actually, the things that I've looked for never changed since.
So now,
high
if
school.
Jomo walks in now.
If Jomo walks in
One
now,
thing I know about you is that you want a kasi guy.
Oh no, that's like a cherry on top.
Okay.
Like that would be
so
like.
basically like a Christian Pantsula.
Where are you? You can give that person my number. Yes. Woo! No shit. That would kill. No, you see, the diamond tops back in the day.
Yes.
I find myself looking at, those side eyes where you're like, you're a taxi marshal, man. Yeah. It does something to me. I don't know what it is.
Did you watch The Wife?
And not for the dialogue, guys. Not for the dialogue. It was like the wife was actually wrong.
You died.
Because it now conditioned us to look at like taxi drivers a different way. You know what I'm saying? And there's nothing wrong with looking at them by the way, because I do feel like you can find love there.
Yeah, 100%.
But it's a different vibe now.
100%.
Like suddenly all those rings the wings, suddenly you're like, over the hand.
You're like,
so there's that, yeah. So no, the wife was hectic. Jovicho was hectic. Yizo zola.
Yeah.
So I guess, I would say then, if I'm talking about a list, like the exterior stuff, somebody who's not all together, man.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Like somebody who's just, there's a bit of, I think I relate there because those guys always come with like very assertive. You know what I'm saying? This one guy who's actually my father, by the way. He goes to, because he had those, he wasn't a Panzula, but he was revolutionary. Like,
yes.
Adela, let's fight and whatever.
He's getting the land.
And you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think he said to my mom, I hope I got the story right, but he was like, oh, you've got a beauty spot on your face.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, no, I don't have a beauty spot. Yeah. And it was like, no, it's right there. And she was like, where? And he's like, your whole face. I died.
Go home.
I'm like, my father can do that.
Go
and I'm
home.
going to come and somebody's just going to say hello.
Go home. Go home.
My mom was done. She was like, I was finished. I was like, where you go, I go.
We're like, whatever land you're conquering, I'm conquering
going
that land
there.
with you.
I was like, and this was back in the day where people would, take you out for ice cream. And that's like a big thing because
come on now.
you never had ice cream, know?
Yeah. When Milky Lane was still a thing.
Hey, bring back those days.
Please.
I even feel sorry for gents because now they really have to pay my niche.
I'm glad I'm married.
Yeah, look.
I'm like, if I was dating with my pockets now, it would be rough. I am trying to convince you how to develop exotic taste for kotas. That's me. I'm like, because that's what I can afford.
yeah. It's a bit rough. Yeah.
So you have a list or you don't have a list?
So I think, I would say that I have a list in the sense that in terms of character, obviously be in Christ, but also be somebody who's emotionally intelligent, who's awake to yourself, who's kind.
Yeah.
Because kindness, and for me, I think the two things, kindness and generosity, those two, I don't know, anytime I come across somebody who's like that, everything else is sorted.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like, so I think that would be the list. And then the third thing, I would just say, please, somebody who's like within my age range.
Sure.
I don't want to be, like, I don't want those jokes of, but she's older than you and all of that. Like, I don't, like, even my mom was like, no, but I mean, it's just 2 years older. And I'm like, that 2 years.
Yeah.
That 2 years, or,
please.
oh, no, he's 45. But he was born in the 70s. Like, these people are like tear gassing. I don't know. They're a bit violent, those ones, whatever. Maybe it's not 45. I don't know when you were born in the, So, but yeah, I think I would want somebody who's in my age range. But if it doesn't happen, I also know myself. It's not like a big deal.
Yeah.
And I think with age also, maybe your list is not that long because you know what is quality now and what is not,
So somebody said the older you get, you don't have a list because you're desperate.
Oh, there's also that.
Okay.
And that's another threat that comes from people. And I think one thing I like to do when somebody says stuff like that is, first of all, disarm them.
Come on.
Because they're coming again for my dignity.
Yeah.
Yes, the reality of being desperate is something that we do actually experience.
Sure.
Let me not talk for the single nation. I'll say
people.
for myself. The desperation thing can come.
Yeah.
But that desperation thing is with everything. It's desperation in your career. It's desperation for your family member who isn't saved. It's desperation for this. So it's a human feeling, and I do feel that.
Sure.
And sometimes when somebody approaches you, you feel like, hey, maybe I should just... because this thing is getting critical now, So when people say stuff like, oh, but you're getting desperate and whatever, I'm like, yes, sometimes I go in and out of there. But the difference is that God has got me.
Sure.
And that's the big thing. That's why I don't go into
Yes.
acting on that desperation.
Yes,
But as for it happening, it happens often.
It's crazy.
You know?
Yeah. So you've dated? Mm-hmm. Are you currently dating?
No. I nearly got into a situation with a guy from Northwest.
Hey!
Ashama, that guy.
You know that chair is for guys from Northwest.
Really?
So maybe.
Listen, guys from Northwest, weakness. Limpopo, weakness. Anything which is somewhere.
They kill you.
Like,
They kill you.
I die. I really die.
Northwest.
Like,
Come on now.
So yeah, I think so. I dated this guy, and
How long ago was this?
This wasn't, well, in fact, we didn't date. We were still like talking about being together, and then we realized that it's not going to work for whatever reasons, which I think, I don't want to put them here because it was said in privacy.
100,
But I think probably at the beginning of this year that there were chats, but we had been talking like for a while though.
Okay.
And I think one of the this one is a bit of a difficult one because one of the issues is I think I had to pick up on the fact that my daddy issues are coming up now in my 30s, and maybe because God knew that I would be able to emotionally handle it now, but they're coming up now. So the deal breakers, I was realizing that, hey, these deal breakers are not actually allowing this person to be like human. You know what I'm saying?
What were some of those?
So some of the deal breakers was him losing like his temper and recovering and like apologizing and acknowledging that he's lost his temper and me saying, well, that's a red sign. That's a red flag because I know I know a father. I had a father with a temper. And what if this just escalates and goes crazy? Do you get what I'm saying? It wasn't even like deal breakers, which are actual deal breakers. Where, because I mean, this guy, gosh, he was just, you know what I'm saying? He was like dope. But then in that, then I also realized that there was another deal breaker where certain sin just didn't affect him. Like he didn't see there was an issue there.
Sure.
Now that's a real deal
That's
breaker
a
because it's like
proper red
if you
flag.
don't understand
Yeah.
this,
Yeah.
this is a big deal.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I always use sex before marriage as like a highlight, but really it's talking about all sin. Like if you don't find that to be a problem, then I know that money laundering is also not going to be a
Yeah,
problem.
yeah,
Then
yeah,
I know that
yeah.
neglecting your kids might also not be a problem. And.
Yeah.
So I think that just, it's always like a highlight, but it's really talking about sin as holistically. So that was that there.
Sure.
But I think I picked up from that there are many triggers that I feel are red flags
Sure.
that are actually not red flags. This is a person being human.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. And how long did you guys speak?
Sure. Probably for like 3 months.
Okay.
Yeah, 3 months, just like chatting and stuff
Trying
like
to
that.
figure each other out.
Just trying to figure, really like having like great hearty conversations.
But you wouldn't have called yourself his girlfriend at that point.
No, definitely not.
Okay.
Like it takes a while for me to say that I am your girlfriend. I don't actually think I've said that properly to somebody.
Okay.
Yeah,
But
I
you've
don't-
spoken to a couple of guys.
Yeah.
So that's the thing that I'm struggling with in whatever we're calling dating now. Because that's what I've been trying to explain to people that like you could talk to people without being their girlfriend and get to know them.
Yeah.
But there's just this notion or belief that you have to be somebody's girlfriend in order for you to know them. But I think once I say girlfriend, boyfriend, then I have to bring my best representative, right? So if I say you're my girlfriend, then I'm always going to carry myself in a way that presents me in a good light, in a positive light, because I'm like, there's a girlfriend at stake here,
Yeah.
relationship at stake, as opposed to we're just talking.
Yeah.
And then I think there's no pressure for us to bring our best representatives, but for us to just be authentic, you know?
Yeah.
But people seem to not want to do that.
For me, I think.
So how do you do that?
So I think for me, when I say I'm talking to you,
Yeah.
for me to have like long conversations with you,
Yeah.
I'm putting a certain level of emotional
Okay.
attachment to this.
Okay.
So I'm not just going to be talking and
Yes.
we're going nowhere with this chat.
Yes.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yes.
As much as we cannot be dating, in you coming up to me and asking for my time, there's a certain level of exclusivity that
Yes.
comes with that.
Okay.
So you talking to me and
Yes.
talking to her, that can't happen.
Hundreds.
If we are doing
And
this,
you're not talking to
I'm not
Mandla
also
Sipho
talking.
and
No.
Vusi.
I'm talking to you.
But you're not my boyfriend.
But you are not yet my boyfriend
Hundreds.
because we are getting to know each other.
Hundreds.
Do you get what I'm saying? So,
Hundreds.
but this is for me, not
Yeah.
like the single nation.
Yeah.
You know. So
Yeah.
if we have gotten to that point where numbers have been exchanged now,
Yeah.
we are texting,
Yeah.
we are talking.
Yeah.
This is building up to a date.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? For some reason, going on a date scares me.
Okay.
Because it's like now I'm in your presence. And I don't know what that is about also. I'm very strange with things
Yeah.
like that. Like
Yeah,
I
yeah.
stall seeing people to the point where this one guy was like, hey, Mona, when are we going to meet?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because how watch
When did you guys meet?
So with him, we met online.
Okay.
But I had known him from
Okay.
a concert that I went to like a while back in
Okay.
Pretoria. But that was like, know him as in I knew that he was this person's friend.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
do you
dope.
get what I'm
That's
saying?
dope, yeah.
But then now online, it was just like, hey,
Yeah.
da-da-da, wow, oh, this is so great and whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I could definitely say we're kindred spirits.
Okay.
You know, just it's simple to get along with.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
And
sure.
vice versa. And you didn't feel like anything was like forced or, you know what I'm saying? It was it was very simple. To
So,
be with.
so you've never had to break up with people? I mean, you have.
I am a
but-
ghoster. Ish. And God must forgive me because
I believe in the Holy Ghost, so I'm going to ghost you, right? I'm just doing what my father does.
yeah, I don't know where I got that from.
But I mean, if you're not somebody's girlfriend, like, yeah, there's no need for you to break up with them.
Yeah.
But maybe there's also no need for you to just ghost them. You can tell them
Yeah,
this thing is ending here.
and with the people that I was talking with, like
Yeah,
seriously,
yeah.
I would tell them why I'm ending this thing.
Okay,
Yeah,
dope,
it was never like I would make it clear that hey, 1, 2, 3 is because of
Yeah.
1, 2, 3,
Yeah.
and that it just goes against this or goes against that, or I just whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
But like if we just. If you ask for, first of all, this is also another problem where, if we're talking, if I meet you and you're shellering me or whatever, and I feel like this is not going to work, then I
Yeah.
just give you the wrong digit at the end.
Come on now. Come on
Yeah.
now. Come on now.
To avoid the whole, no, I don't want to
sure.
give, and all of that.
Yeah.
Pro tip.
Yeah. What's your last number?
No, I'm not going to.
No, of your cell phone.
Oh, 9.
So you always give them an 8.
Or anything. Yeah, anything.
When I switch the last digits,
Yeah.
because mine is 0406, I always give them a 05.
Who? Always give who?
People I want to give them my wrong
Oh,
number
okay.
to. So I'm like,
okay, so this is a thing. Okay.
yeah, but I'm obviously not dating anybody. Where I'm
Yeah,
just
no.
somebody's like, oh, can I have your number? And I'm like,
Do you see why I say we are family?
this person is gonna pester me. Like, dog, you gonna bother me. It's just instead of giving you the 6, just give it a 5. I'm like,
oh my God, that is exactly it.
and
You
then,
gave me
yeah. And I'm like, I know you're not even gonna call me.
You know, like
it's okay, bro.
I'm so glad somebody you gave me words.
that's
like you articulated
Yes.
what was going on here. Shit. That's true.
That's
yeah.
nuts. It's interesting though that you do that. This whole talking thing, because maybe let me
I
ask.
don't want to though be in the talking stages too much.
Why?
And again, this is not something that came up with age and I'm desperate
Yes.
in this sense or whatever.
Yes.
But I've always like it's even with my friendships. I knew Lily was my best friend from the first conversation we had. Like it wasn't, I knew she's going to be in my life. I knew Slee was going to be in my life.
Yes.
And then the people which are not in my life, I knew this is not going to carry on. So I think with the same thing with a gent.
Yes.
I sincerely don't feel like it's going to take that long. Some people need that. Some people need time and all of that stuff. I just don't, I sincerely don't feel like when I find my person, it's going to be that long.
Sure.
I think that we'll talk, we'll have a conversation, and not a conversation, just a conversation, but other things we'll find out in marriage.
Dope. What would be your ideal dating time? How long would you date for?
One day. Next
Come
day we
on,
get married. Lobola, listen, when you approach me, have the uncles ready.
Approach me with a truck full of cows.
And that's the thing. Men from Limpopo would actually do that. You see? Man, those guys are G's, man. They are G's, right?
And us the Limpopo guys.
And they always bring this thing like, my uncles, whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe it's also a game that they're playing. I don't know.
Come on now.
But like, yeah, man.
You serious?
No, honestly, like even the guy that I was, the last 2 guys that I was chatting to, they were like,
They're
I
ready.
want, my uncles should come.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
How long did you guys speak for?
Probably, 3 months.
Okay.
It wasn't long.
Yeah.
It really wasn't long. And I think that's where I picked up that if a gent is serious, this thing is not a big deal for him. I thought that marriage is something that a lot of men don't want. Didn't realize that a lot of men out there do actually want it.
Yes.
There's a lot of gents which do want that stability, just like us. They want the stability. They want somebody who they can be real with. They want a friend, I would even go as far to say that some people want to be parented to a certain extent, on both sides. And I know the thing about that, that I'm not your mother, I'm not your dad, but I've seen relationships where that is happening and it brings healing to people. You know what I'm saying? It's like when people tell me that a man can never make you feel good about yourself, or you shouldn't get your affirmation from a man. I felt the reason that
Somebody that you married to.
No. I'm just saying or anyone.
Okay.
Do you get what I'm saying? I understand where they're coming from. But for me, a huge part of my confidence in terms of like my body, my mind, and whatever was the first guy that I dated. He gave me that,
Sure.
and I'm not going to ignore that experience because we have to be Mpokoto,
Mpokotos.
and I'm not that. I'm like, whatever that Mpokoto is, I'm the softest.
Yeah.
Flying, yeah.
I am the water that runs over the
Over the
Mpokotos.
Mpokoto,
Come on now.
I'm that. I'm not even the water. If water's too hectic, those like what is it? Feather.
Yes,
It's just that.
yes,
Yeah, that's
yes,
what I am.
yes.
So
Come
all
on.
the Mpokotos can be there, and I'm just floating.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, and I love that because I think that's what community is also about.
Sure.
They build you.
Yeah.
That's why you need to have the right type of community around you. So I absolutely feel like you can get affirmed and mothered to a certain extent and fathered by your partner.
Yeah, sure, sure.
Not
sure.
in that weird way though.
No. And I would find it weird that like, if I'm in a relationship with somebody that they shouldn't like affirm me. I'm like,
Yeah.
then what are we doing?
And they're out there, hey?
I'm like-
hey, they're out there. They were like, no, I told you I loved you 2 years ago. Oh,
Wow.
but we are here.
Wow.
Like, what are you talking
Wow.
about?
That's the thing I was also gonna say when you were saying now that there's a lot of dudes who wanna get married, and I agree with you, but I think a lot of dudes don't know why they want to get married. I think they want to get married, but I don't think they know why.
That is scary.
Yeah, because when you engage with some guys, it's like it's for stability or whatever, and then I'm like,
Okay.
yeah, and like this, that this is your whole life, like this, you're not going in this thing for you to get stuff, but you
Right.
need to be giving a lot of who you are as well, and maybe because women want security, and so you guys think in depth about why you'd want to get into a long-term relationship, this case marriage, but I think for most guys, and it's not the guy's fault entirely,
Yeah.
because I think we do live in a society now where people are getting relationship advice from podcasts, and there's no
Here we are.
community.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. And we have to acknowledge that
Yeah.
part of what it is that we're doing, we
Yeah.
need to be careful with the stuff that we are putting out. But I'm like, there's just no longer a sense of, uncles, dads,
Yeah.
grandfathers sitting down with a dude and saying, hey man,
These are the
this,
facts.
yeah, this is what marriage is. This is why you go into it. This is how you conduct yourself in the thing, and preparing the guy so that he's well aware of the reasons for why he's getting into this thing,
So, what were your reasons? Because
for getting married.
Yeah, because you got married pretty young, and your
Yeah.
background is,
Yeah.
it's a bit tricky with the father.
Yeah, my dad
Yeah.
not being there. Yeah, so although he was a big part of the reason why I wanted to get married,
Okay.
my dad, because again, he was, and I say again because I said it in a previous episode, that he was there for the first 15 years of my life, and I saw how he loved my mom, how he loved us, how he cared for us, how he was
I didn't know that part.
a great dad for those first 15 years. And so I saw him then, and I was like, yo man, that's what I want to do. I want to love my wife like this. I want to raise kids, I want to lead, shepherd, disciple, etc., because that's what he was doing with me.
Yeah.
And yeah, just like I always remember how our house was, or our home was, full of laughter,
Sure.
full of joy, seeing how my mother was happy because of him. So that's part of why I wanted to get married. And then obviously when I became a Christian,
Yeah, it made more sense.
yeah, and then I'm like, I just want to glorify the Lord with my body, and wanting to build life with somebody.
Yeah.
And for companionship, and obviously at that point, me and Lily were very close friends. And we were like, yo man, we need to let's do this for the rest of our lives.
Yeah, yeah.
Although, I mean, I don't know if you would remember this, but no, you would, because you were one of the people who said that we looked good together. I think.
I'm not sure.
I'm calling you out. When those people around us, so for those who don't know, Sunny, Lily, and I went to the same school,
Yes.
varsity. And
Jim Poncho. The original friend.
yeah. But there were people who, when me and my wife were friends, who were
Yeah.
saying you guys would make a good couple. Why don't you
Yes.
guys date? And we'd like, what are
But
you
that was
guys
actually
saying?
before, like,
I
everything.
know, before anything, yeah. And
That
and
is
we were
crazy,
just like,
yes.
this is disgusting. Why would you even say that? Like,
The things that normally law is yet to know.
and so
Yeah,
by the time,
actually, yes.
yeah, I was like, let's do this. We had obviously been friends for a while, and you guys saw what you saw, which we didn't see.
Yeah.
So
Which is awesome because you had that trust already.
yeah,
There wasn't and you'd been through, like, you had your fights, you had your
we had a
coming
big
together.
fight,
You know what I'm saying? But that's where you guys knew each other.
Yes,
You know that this is
yes.
how far this person can go and this is how
Yes.
far I can go.
Yes.
So there was that trust that was built.
And part of
so-
that
that's
made
amazing.
it easy was there wasn't any big stakes. Like
Yeah.
Like, she
that's
wasn't
the
my
thing.
girlfriend.
Yeah.
When I was getting to know her.
Yeah.
And that's the thing I still don't get.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, and here's the thing, I'm only saying this now, after marriage, that I'm like, I think you can just get to know somebody without titles.
Yeah.
Like you can just, which makes it easier.
Yeah.
Because I think once you put titles, it just ups the stakes, and then
But I think then if you're not going to put the title, don't make this person exclusive then.
what do you mean?
So, how can I put it?
Because you're exclusive with somebody that you're getting to know, but you're not their girlfriend.
True, but I
Yes.
think what I'm trying to say is that, like, in getting to know, like, there was never a guy who's coming, like, off the street
Yes.
and talking to me.
Yes.
This person is not, it's rare that a person would come off the street as a gent, although they say it all the time. Can I be your friend? But it's rare that he's actually saying, can I actually be your friend?
Sure. That's not what he's saying.
Do you get what I'm saying? So off the street,
Yeah.
I think I guess we forfeit that whole we are going to first start off as friends type of thing.
Okay.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yes.
You sort of have to go into getting to know each other with intentionality.
Yes.
Do you get what I'm saying? And when I mean that, I mean even in the talking stages, it can't, like, this talking stages has to, like, progress. You know what I'm saying? It can't just be talking and talking and talking. Or at some point you need to be like, you know what, I thought I really
Yes.
liked you, but I realized that maybe I don't.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not vibing with
Do
you
you
that
do
way.
you put a timeline? So, Joe Rock comes off the streets. Yo, Sonny, can we be friends? Do you put a timeline in your mind, or do you communicate it, or is there no timeline at all where you're like, this thing is gonna be like 2 weeks of us talking before I could even say, hey, I think I dig you, or whatever the case is, or is it just free flowing?
It's actually just been free flowing, I must confess.
Okay.
I've never felt the need to put a timeline.
Okay.
But that's also, I think, maybe because the gents have always done that.
Okay.
Yeah, so I've never had to be like, okay, we've been talking for quite a while, and then
Yeah.
now what's happening? You know what I'm saying? But what I do know is that, first of all, those people of my friend, I'm not going to talk to you because that's weird.
You're a liar.
But I think, I've never had to put a timeline. But what I am realizing is that I no longer want to be love bombed. I've
Hey.
been love bombed a lot.
What is that?
Love bomb. Hey, you see, I'm 90 to be married, yes. Love bombing is where a guy comes into your life and he's like, you're my world, I love you,
Yes.
we're getting married, let's
Yes.
go into the sunset,
Yes.
I love. And then three weeks later, it's please call me.
Wow.
That's what love bombing is, where he
Wow.
just comes with, like, we're doing everything, and then
Wow.
when you're like,
I'm
okay,
ready.
here we are, then he's like, now I've got you, I don't need to do anything.
What?
Yeah. And this is why I always tell
What?
people, even with friendships, you actually have to be with people who like you
Yes.
and want to get to know
Yes.
you more,
Yes.
and who want to be, like, intimately involved with
Yes,
you. You know what
yes,
I'm saying?
yeah.
Even in friendship, because there are relationships, and people think I'm, like, maybe speaking lies when I say there are lots of men that I have dated who don't actually like me.
What?
They really don't. They just like the idea of having somebody like me.
Sure.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Sure.
They don't, because the minute I am not
Sure.
nurturing or strong or
Sure.
whatever, yeah.
Do you find that out as you're
in it, where he now no longer wants to talk to you anymore.
Shucks.
Like he can go for like a whole week. I think that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like to go.
So
a
what
whole
did he
week.
say at the beginning that, what did he say he likes about you at the beginning that now when you're in the relationship, he's like, oh, this chick is not this?
I think in the beginning, he liked the fact that, and I had to realize this, that these people like the fact that I'm very inquisitive about people. So I let you talk and talk and talk, and
sheesh.
I love to give advice, and I love like I like to welcome people in my
Yes,
space
yes.
and ask you questions, and
Yes.
I want to know everything about you. But I'm like that with like even the person on the street. Like I want to know everything about you.
You're dangerous.
You know what I'm saying? Exactly. That's why I think I struggle.
As from Limpopo, make your decision clear, right? Or intentions. When you meet her, just be like,
please.
are you just like opening up to be inquisitive, or you really want to know me?
Yeah. No, like I'll talk to anybody like on the street
yeah.
because I love stories.
Yeah.
But yeah. And
So do they tell you, I like this about you, I like that, or they just like, oh, we in. She's opened up, and then
I think it's that I don't think like they would tell me, I love your personality, you're so open. The one that I had to like be very careful of is I love the fact that you're so humble. You don't like things. You're not like these other women.
you don't know me.
I don't like things.
Ability is not my name.
He's like, no, even if I don't have to give you girlfriend allowance, I'm like, okay, girlfriend allowance is already weird. But no, why do you think I don't need anything?
But please send me an email. Like,
yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Surprise
like,
me.
Again, things that I don't have to tell men or like the Northwest or whatever.
Yeah.
Or even Zulus.
Yeah. So then they would say.
So they would be like, love the fact that you're so humble.
Yes.
You love God. I think they generally like a purity thing about women that you don't like going out to clubs and da-da-da and all of that stuff.
Yes.
But I'm realizing that I also would place myself in a position that you would like me.
Yes.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Sure.
Instead of just being like, actually, I'm not this pleasant all the time.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
I can be. And that's, I guess, what you get with
Sure.
being a person's friend first before the idea of, is that I don't have to be pleasant, ngalawe. You know what I'm saying? I'm just kind of being myself.
Yes.
So I think I've had to not go into relationships telling this gent what I want or who I am, but just let them see what is happening here,
They don't
like and then if they don't like it, then they must go. So oftentimes, now when we're in the relationship, I think, honestly, and this is not like a flex or anything like that, but I think my depth scares men.
Sure.
The fact that I'm very intuitive about, hey, this comment that you're saying is actually manipulative, or...
And you say it directly.
Yeah, I would like call him up, but because I've had to call myself out so many times, you know what I'm saying? And they do that, and I'm like, no, but that's like you're conditioning me now to think a specific way. Why are you doing that? Don't condition me. Don't tell me I'm humble because you never want to give me like...
You're an enslaver. That's what you are.
Exactly.
You want to put me in a dungeon. I can see where this is going.
No, or like somebody who just doesn't like my mom, but you've never met her. I'm just giving you like what she says to me.
Yeah.
You cannot like my mom. I'm sorry. Like, have you seen my mom?
Nuts.
Yeah, I think it's also the depth of like asking what I thought weren't deep questions, like, oh, what are your like thoughts about your future and stuff like that? And now it's like, no, don't be so. Let's be here.
Let's be here.
Wow, but this is like a general question. If we can't even talk about this,
and aren't we supposed to be together in the future?
Yeah, so
we're
what
not gonna
is the
talk
plan?
About the future.
Yeah. Or just like I think it's just what I would think is not that deep.
Yes.
They would take as, you're this girl, like she's too serious.
Yes, Yes. Why did you break up with your last boyfriend?
Sex before marriage.
Okay.
Yeah, he didn't see a problem there.
How old was he?
27.
27.
Yeah.
Emma, dog, you need to chill. Okay.
Like, yeah.
So how did you get to that point
What?
of having to talk about sex before marriage?
Oh,
and then
yeah.
breaking up over it.
I just bring it up straight away.
Yeah.
Like, in the beginning, we never really needed to talk about it because we're talking about everything else. Like, it was not needed.
Yeah.
But I think also something which really, oh no, sorry, he was 28.
Okay.
Just need to put that out there. I'm not that much of a cradle snatcher. So what I did appreciate about him was that he was very open about the fact that he has a child.
Okay.
And that's also a real reality now in your 30s, where
Yeah,
you're
sure.
going to come across people which will probably have a child or whatever.
two, yeah.
Yeah, or two, or three. I mean, if it's four, I'm like, where do we go to from here?
What are we doing, my dog?
And they're
What are you
different
gonna do
mothers.
with me? You need to go be a father.
Just go into missionary work and just have your kids.
Go be a dad, bro. Leave me alone.
Because even my mom, I mean, the guy which I went on a date with, but yeah, who was like 51 or 52.
This was recent.
Yeah, but like,
How did you go out with a 52-year-old? We still have a peg on the 28-year-old.
I think that was a desperate moment. I think that was a downfall moment, you know.
I see.
I think that was like a harsh, that was like last number. I feel. Yeah, I think that was that was a bit of a thing.
How long did you talk to him for?
That one I can't actually remember. Okay. But I do remember enjoying the conversation. And I think that's maybe what I loved, the maturity, like the fact that he did so much life.
I see.
You know,
I see.
you know, and he was, you know, the fact that he just did so much life.
He was born in 1972. Bro.
Yeah. So he was,
wow.
Yeah. I mean, there was a time when we were talking, he was telling me about, what was he telling me about? But I remember thinking, I wasn't born then. Yeah. Like, I don't know how this is going to work, you know? And then my mom, she's there, she's 65. I'm like,
wow.
Hey, how's this gonna work out? Because she can't call him like a son-in-law.
Son-in-law.
I mean, she could, but then she would.
My little brother.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, thank God. Well, God sorted that out quickly because he was dodgy also.
Yeah.
So, but dodgy like in Christ. Where
Wow.
It's like,
wow.
Hey, these ones I don't know about.
Was it
them.
a sex before marriage thing as well?
No. He was like that. That's fine.
Okay.
He was all the things, but now all the things in rigidity. Like you could not breathe. Like I was
like
just
you
like
can't smile.
No, smiling.
Yeah.
Like how dare you have joy?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And also no accountability.
Wow.
Like there was no sense of you've done me wrong.
Wow.
You know, and like bring out scriptures as to why I have not done you wrong. And I'm just not feeling that you are not humble. Just say it. Let's move on. So that's why I say that this thing is tricky because you also need somebody who is self-aware to that, you know, and actually a different generation has different things going on. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like somebody who was born in the 70s, 60s, things were different from them. You know, they are more like get up, get over it, move on.
Let's go, yeah.
You know, we don't even deal with emotions. We are more, I think our generation, if anything, are more like, guys, we're going through something and we're talking about
pause.
it.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And then the Gen Zs are like, we're always just in something.
Yeah. We are something.
You know, where I feel like we've got a nice balance. You know, we've got a bit of baby boomer in us and then Gen Z and, you know.
Yes.
But yeah, so I think the generation thing, it's a bit of a thing.
That's a tough one.
Yeah, I think I would rather stick with the millennials.
Did you know you were desperate when you said yes to him?
I didn't think I was.
Okay.
But I think the thing was that it was I was ticking boxes. And that's something which makes me a bit uncomfortable because it's not organic. So I feel like, okay, he's this, he's that, he doesn't have children, he's in Christ, he's this, you know what I'm saying? And then that's that.
Shucks.
You know?
Yeah.
Whereas that's just not even life.
Yeah.
You know, life is far more nuanced than that.
Yeah.
Like there are things which have to be there.
Yeah, sure.
But then,
Sure.
yeah.
28-year-old, how do you then broach the subject of not having sex before marriage?
I think for me, it's asking him about like where is he standing with Christ? Like,
Yeah.
what is, I want to hear your testimony. What is your idea of sin?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about the gospel?
Yeah.
Things like that. And then that's where you pick up that, no. There's, and here's the thing, it's not to say that I don't believe that he was not saved. I think he was saved.
Sure.
But I just think that maybe this thing, I don't know, actually, it just didn't affect him, because it was actually one of those things. It started off with, we'll do whatever makes you comfortable. Already, that's
what he said.
Yeah. And I'm like, what must I? You're also supposed to be in this,
Lead me.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I think it was it was that where I realized that his value of what sin is very shallow, and that's going to affect other things, And what's so sad is what broke my heart was that because his value of sin was so low, his understanding of grace was also very low. You know what I'm saying? So he never had grace for himself. He punished himself. You know what I'm saying? And I just realized that if you don't have a good understanding there, you're also not going to know the grace of God and how deep it is, you know? But I told him this directly. I even, we went through scripture and he actually understood it and he knew it was wrong, but I don't think he's understood why.
Sure.
Because his whole thing was, but we're going to get married.
Yeah.
So what's the problem?
So why not?
You know what I'm saying? I'm like, well, these are problems,
You set a precedence, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think also just, again, going back to the dignity thing, now having to explain this to the world.
Yes.
Like, hey, Marawena, why are you holding yourself up with this Christ thing? You can just be, these are the golden years. You're never going to be 30 again. If you get married at 40, then, even your sex drive won't be what it is now, So there's so many things that are being said all the time.
How do you survive through all of that, bro? All the threats?
So the kind thing about God is that with all these threats, he sent me such a good community out there.
Dope.
Dope. Every single time I walk into my church, which is rooted, you just see men treating their wives so well, and being so honest about when things are not going well.
Sure.
Sure. And then also there's single gents in my church which treat you well, even though there are no intentions.
Sure.
It's just because you're a sister in Christ, we treat you well.
Hundreds.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm always confronted with the truth that actually this is what it is, that your value isn't based simply on your singleness or whether you're married or not. This is what the truth is. What's happening out there is there's a lot of that, but this is the truth here, And I think that's how, and then also prayer, and I guess a deep belief that I do believe I'll be married. There's nothing in me that has ever made me feel otherwise. Yeah.
That's great. So 3 things for you, for your Christian Panzula, if he's watching. What are the 3 things?
I feel like you're gonna have to officiate the wedding.
1,000.
Like you're gonna have to officiate.
1,000. You can't. If you're gonna marry that dude, you can't get a pastor who's gonna sound like this. Yeah, you know
what I'm saying? Especially because, Tony survives.
Yeah. So you need a dude like me, right?
Who's gonna get the nuances and not be scared like
now, yeah.
Dude, what's going on?
There's a video I saw this dude. So the pastor is saying it's all in vernac.
Yeah.
But the pastor is saying, repeat after me, the section of the vows. So then the wife does her thing. I, whoever take you, don't. Okay. Then the pastor says to the guy, so you repeat after me. The guy's like, why?
It's those things.
So the mother-in-law comes and she's like, bro, listen, just listen to the pastor. It's like, shut down.
Oh my gosh. I love it.
I'm like, that's my key, bro.
That's a mandala. Yeah.
What's going to happen here now?
Exactly. Yeah. Nothing is going to happen.
And then it's like, okay, yeah. Kulum. So through sickness and health is like, I just choose health.
Yes.
I want sickness. Oh, yeah. Just repeat the vows, bro. It's like, I'm committing. I just want health, not sickness.
Even that.
I'm like my guy.
Oh no,
My
I love
guy.
it. I love it.
So what are the three things for your Christian Zola 7?
3 things like in what sense? Like 3 things to expect?
That he has to have for you to say yes to him.
Christ.
Mm-hmm.
Like he really sincerely, and I know it sounds like, but he really just needs to have a very good understanding. Like
Okay.
I want him to have his own relationship with God.
Dope.
You know, I don't
Dope.
want to play the Holy Spirit in his life.
100.
You know what I'm saying? Like advice here and there, whatever.
yeah.
But I don't want to feel like I am actually now convicting you of your sin.
yes.
You know, like you need to. I want you to have a relationship with God for yourself. And then I think the second thing was you please be fun. Just be fun, man. Be loose. Be fun, be happy, be joyous. All of these things, be handsome, Take care of your nails. Don't let them grow. You know, all of those things.
If
So
there's
all
one
of
thing I
the,
know about you, you don't want him to
Like,
chew his nails.
you!
I've clipped them, right?
like, I will clip them even for him. Like, I cannot. Yeah, one of the dirty nail thing, or just the nails.
Yeah. But what if he has like the pinky nail?
And that we can't. That's divorce. That's divorce.
He'll tickle you.
No!
Your beauty spot.
No, divorce, I'll cut it off. I'm like, actually, yeah, we would need to talk about that. Once I see it on the dinner table when we're having. No!
Do you want some salt on your food?
And I can see that. I would be so embarrassed. Like,
pepper
and you know
and salt.
The thing is that these gents are actually that embarrassing. Like, they are that embarrassing, though.
I don't care, bro.
Yeah, I think there's a lot for me to think about now because you're bringing up things now.
That's crazy.
That would be. Imagine now I'm bringing him to you guys, and you guys are just like you. I'm fine with. It's Lily who will be like, you know, when she does that with her eyes, like when she's trying to figure out what is actually going on here.
Please.
And you'll be nice, but after it's going to be like, okay, so name what's going on.
I would laugh at you.
I know you would. Yeah.
Third thing.
I don't know. Yeah, I think I'll leave that one for we'll see.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll be what that is a thing which will make me happy at the time or whatever. Yeah, I just can't think of the third thing now.
Okay. That's dope.
Yeah.
That's dope. Maybe in closing, I don't know if you have anything you'd want to ask me as a married person to a single.
Yeah, I think I want to know what are your guys' thoughts about us, because I must say there's always a sense of, like, even in that question, like how can we better, serve you or be a friend to you? I always, for some reason, feel like that's an achashem. It's like finally cancer, and you're like, how can I be nice to or like help you through the sickness? So like, do you guys see us as an achashem? Like genuinely, do you feel like we are missing something?
Yeah.
Do you feel like we're not getting the taste of life?
Personally, no. Nah, like it's never been that. I actually feel for you guys because of how I think the dating culture has become wild. So when we were dating, and again, make me sound like I'm 50,000 years old.
But I feel like you started like an elder at 21. So,
me?
Yeah.
I think I was born an elder.
Like, honestly, there was like a wisdom where I'm like,
I think
why?
I was born
21.
I was born You know what my biggest dream in life is? To be 80.
Wow.
Like, I just want to be 80 years old.
Sure.
Like,
that is something.
Like, obviously, I have other dreams,
Yes,
money,
yeah.
where I live, etc. But I'm like, Jesus, please, man. Like,
is it to pick at the youth?
I want to say wild things.
Okay.
With everybody excusing
I
my
think it's an
wildness.
August thing because my mom loves that too, and she was born in August. Yeah. She like my mom will literally be like, yeah. I think you didn't watch. Nompopo, you didn't watch. How me Oklamba Nompopo?
And we're all like, he's old.
She's
it's
old.
Okay. Yeah. That's me. I just want to say wild things.
Sure.
and trap people in conversations, because that's what like old people do. Where it's like you have, especially like black old people.
Yeah.
And I see it in their eyes that you know what you're doing. And they're like, because you're supposed to respect me, you're not going to leave. It doesn't matter
Like,
if you have
yeah.
an appointment. I'm not done speaking.
Yeah.
And you're going to sit there and listen, bro. You
Yes.
can't say, okay, I'm cool.
Yeah.
You say, where are you? Angakaqedi, phansi sikhulume.
That's even more gracious. They just carry on speaking.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you'll be like, yeah, and they'll be like, and
Yeah.
we're like, yo, I really can't leave here. Okay, yeah.
that's
I love
tough.
that for you. I love that for you.
Honor
I'll
you.
pray.
So I mean, yeah, we've been married for 9 years. So
Jeez.
dating was not that long time ago.
Sure, you guys have been married forever then.
I mean, yeah,
Sure. 10 years is next year then.
I know.
Wow. Okay.
I know. And I took probably 2 years. So when I became a Christian, I stopped dating, and probably took 2 years before I dated my wife. I think it was 2 years or something, or a year and some change. But that's the thing that I think when I talk to my single friends, I'm like, that's me, I feel for you guys because of how wild the thing is. So I don't think you're missing out on life. I don't think, but I'm like, we didn't have Tinder. We didn't.
Yeah.
Even,
Social media on this level.
Exactly. Even the thought of meeting somebody online, on
Yeah.
Facebook, whatever, was never a thing for us. You know, it was still wild where it's like, why are you inboxing me to... You know? I was like, no, man, we're not doing this, right? But
Guys get inboxes.
yeah, dudes get inboxes.
Oh, that's something new. Like, I mean, I knew, okay, sharp, I knew that it was happening, but I just didn't know.
Before I deleted my Facebook,
Yeah.
I would just get random inboxes, right?
Like, hello, hi.
Yeah. And like you find like, and then for some reason, maybe because Facebook was like, you know, after MySpace, like the
Yes.
first big social media thing.
Yeah.
But Facebook still had that, like, we're writing letters.
Yes,
you know,
decorum.
Yeah,
you know, yeah.
where I'm like, Kel Marayin, like, what? I sugar, man. Like, I get away.
And then there were any full sentences.
No.
Just
Yeah.
yeah.
Hey, guy. Really sure.
You guys.
No, man. Right? So I just
Classic.
think it's rough, man.
Yeah.
And how complicated dating now seems, you know. So I'm like, all the stuff that you're speaking about, he has to be solid in his faith, you know, has to be in a community, etc., etc. I'm like, online, somebody writes that,
Yeah.
and
but-
some people think it's enough.
Yeah.
I've heard people say, well, his bio said he loves
Yeah,
Jesus, and
like-
I'm like, yeah, sure, bro.
But
like,
because we believe the net so much.
Yeah.
Like, we
know?
really do.
yeah. So I'm like, it's
No,
just
it's rough.
It is just rough, man. And I know a lot of people who I'm like you. I'm like, I think you do a fine job of being someone's wife. And the thing that pains me is I'm like where's Speecho?
Yeah, but I want to also ask you guys. You guys will always talk about having single friends, né?
Yeah.
Single guy friends, single girlfriends,
Yes.
right? But why don't you ever tell us to, like, why don't you ever say, hey, I actually have this guy friend. Maybe you guys should talk or whatever. Like, do you feel like you're infringing on my human rights or?
No, I can't do that directly
Okay.
because of my job.
Oh, really?
Because then I have to do it for everyone.
Oh.
So I can't do it for you and not do it for the next person. Because
But you can whisper that you're doing it for
No. So what I try and do now is just find agents within my ministry. So I'm like, you know, like Sunny would be my agent. I'm like, yo, Shune, go to Sipo and go to, you know, Vinolia and say, hey guys. I didn't tell you. I'm out of this. I don't know.
Wow.
So I'm like,
Okay.
let's get agents to do the thing,
Distribute.
right? Yeah, but and so and that's the thing where I'm like, I see because I'm married, and because I'm like, there's fundamentals that need to be there for you to be married, and I'm like, I see some people with those attributes and key things that I think would sustain a marriage, and I'm like, dog, like this chick is fine, you know, and I've spoken to now I'm remembering one guy where I was like, this girl is fine, and his thing was like, but like she's okay. Like in terms of attraction, she's probably like a 5 or a 6 for him. I'm like, okay, I get it, but she has everything else.
Yeah.
And the things that will keep your marriage long term. I think she's there in terms of her faith. I think she'll be a great mother. I think she solves issues well. She sits in problems, so she's not gonna run away. I think she'll make a good wife, man. But for him, it was like, but.
He can't, and I think that's the thing, hey, because like in the dating world, I always just say to people, and even like I always have to remind myself of this, that you really need to. There's this thing of guys dating women in the interim. So there's the girl that they really want to be with.
Sheesh.
And then there's the girl they absolutely cannot be with.
Sheesh.
And then you get the interim girls who it's like, on my way, when I am successful, when I have the money, when my types will look at me, then I'm going to ditch you.
Wow.
And usually what I find is that the interim girls, and I can say that because I think to a certain extent I have been that person, where it's a person who is like likable, and people are going to be like, oh, that's a great girl that you're with, but she's not the patter boom.
Yes.
Body, hair, this, that, all of that stuff.
Yes.
And you just now fall in that range.
Yeah.
So I always have to, I guess, make sure that the person's here actually for me and not because I'm the in-betweener, where, when you do have everything that you feel this person is going to want, then you go for your type.
This is probably a hard question, but how would you know that he's treating you as an interim?
I think because of, and guys do this all the time, they reveal who they want for a woman. They will say it. You know what I'm saying? They're saying it to you after being in a relationship with you.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Or in the relationship with you.
Yeah.
Like they'll be like, they think she's so pretty, man.
Wow.
I love girls like that. Like, and they'll say so. And I am so far from a faith in Katie.
Wow.
It's like...
Wow.
I am. Do you get what I'm saying? So
I'm on a date with you and I'm telling you
about faith in
like,
do you get what I'm saying?
That's my type.
Or I love girls which are, more quiet. Why are you here? Because I'm definitely not quiet.
It's not happening. Bro.
Like people which are like, I thought you were an introvert. I was like, I don't understand why you would ever think I'm an introvert. Like, it's like I'm not even one of those people which are like, I have introverted moments. No, I'm not. I'm extrovert 24/7. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah, I do decompress now after COVID. Like I'll be quiet for like several hours, but then I'm like, and then we get back into talking again. But so I think I've had to know that. But I think also I allowed myself in those situations because I actually didn't know what I was bringing to the table. Like I didn't think I brought anything to the table. And unfortunately, that was for everything in my life. Even like contracts that I had signed with people. I was like, oh no, just give me what you can afford giving me. I didn't know what am I actually bringing to the table. What does Sane bring? Things that my friends had to tell me that I thought for the longest time I was a very like shallow person. Like I just have like vibes. I'm a vibes. And like all of my friends are like, if anybody is interrogating people,
it's you.
You get what I'm saying? So I didn't know what I would bring. So I would just be like, okay, well, if he thinks I am worth it, then I guess I have to take what I have to take,
Shucks.
And unfortunately it would be the guys which are so handsome. But it's these pantolas which wouldn't treat me like the interim girl. You know what I'm saying? They are.
What your heart is telling you.
Those guys will treat you like, guys, I'm there.
When no peas, never find a surprise.
Gosh, Santon, aber yer. Of a lock. Whoa.
Yeah. Where's gonna call you Jayam and not babe?
But that njayam is so romantic. Like, why is your njayam so romantic? Why are you being romantic with that?
Come on, dog.
Like, showering you with keep, guys.
Yes. Come
Guys,
on now.
no. I love that I'm not going to work too hard, but I'm working the hardest.
Yes.
To get your
Yes,
attention.
yes.
Not this thing of, listen, if there's a person who breaks into the house, we are all going to fight.
Yeah.
No. You have to go and fight. I'm not going to fight because, I'm also like, I also go for pedicures and manicures. No. We are not both fighting. You must fight.
fighting.
And that's something you don't have to tell Ivana says Tembisa that he's going Pambili.
Yes. You don't have to ask him.
No. Aye, guys.
I swear, once you meet your Christian Pansula, we need to bring him onto the podcast.
Listen, that'll be so shocking. If that actually happens, that'll be very shocking.
me, I'm praying for it. I'm praying for it.
Yeah.
What would be your parting shots for single people and for married people? What should we know? Think about when it comes to singleness.
I think the general thing, like, I'll put it like this, it's always like, we always think that it's married people against single people.
Yeah.
Or like blacks against whites,
Yeah.
or like men against women,
Yes, yes.
I think we need to start at, we are first people.
100.
And that's why I love Christ, because he's so countercultural,
Yeah.
and that we should just acknowledge me, number one, as just a person who is alive.
Yep.
And this is my life. That, I feel like that'll sort out everything else. Do you get what I'm saying? Because if now you come in and have this hero mentality of, I'm going to make you feel like you're not the third wheel. That in and of itself now is making me feel like I'm the third wheel. We don't kiss Lily here. We don't, because we don't want her to feel. It's like, even like when some of my white friends are like, I am going to fight for your rights more than you are going to fight for your rights as a black woman.
Yes,
It's like, you see, even that now, it's too
chill,
much.
my bro.
So just acknowledge, I think from the single people, acknowledge your married friends, because it is first of all, it's a beautiful thing, this marriage thing. I think it's also been given such a bad rep. It's such a beautiful thing. So I think we should just acknowledge people as they are, right? Yeah. And then also, don't assume. I think the worst thing that I ever did with my married friends is assumptions.
Sure.
That there's no more, that when you get married, then you don't have any problems.
Sure.
Like, you don't struggle with sexual immorality, or you don't struggle with temptation and this and that. I don't make those assumptions, because when you do get married, there's other things that you have to deal with. Do you get what I'm saying? Yeah. So, and also single people, like for my married friends, I don't actually deal with a lot of temptation at this stage in my life. Like, there's nothing that's like, I don't feel like there's a pulling or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And I'm quite enjoying so there's just, don't assume that things are specific ways on the one side. Yeah. Sure. And then don't also act as though you don't want things. Like, don't act as if, I don't want marriage. I'm going to come off as desperate. No, if you want it, say it. Pray about it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? If you don't want it, that's also cool. Sure. But make it clear, because I know a lady who's like, I've just never had that sense that I want to be married, and I'm so okay with that. And she sincerely was.
How old is she?
She is probably 41.
Okay. That's good.
Yeah, and she's just like, she is so fulfilled. She's the most joyous person. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, well, what if you do get married? And she was like, that's going to be something I have to really think of, because I love the fact that I can just do ministry any which way. You know what I'm saying? So I think also don't assume that she's unhappy because she's not in a marriage, So let's not assume, or at least let's try not to assume. I'm one of the most judgmental people out there, so I judge people and very unfairly and very harshly. I even judge myself. I'm constantly saying apologies. Like the one guy, I was on this one film set and he was the driver. I didn't know he had a chest problem, and he was coughing a lot, and I immediately put on my mask. I'm like, he's got COVID, And he was like, Sissy, I'm not COVID. And I'm like, oh, sorry, So I'm sorry, very... but still keeping the mask on because what do you have?
If?
There?
Yeah. What if you got TP? I don't know, bro. Get away from me.
So yeah, just no assumptions. Like
Yeah,
try to limit
yeah.
the assumptions on
dope.
both sides, and then like have fun.
I know I've been saying, I'm being a true preacher now. As we close, what's the one thing you've enjoyed about being single so far?
Space.
Okay.
Like having my own bed to myself, being able to wake up in the morning, no like breath or a person's
yes,
body, like
yes.
smelling something wherever. I think just the fact that my time is actually my time.
Yep.
You know, and I guess I can say that, but I mean, being single also doesn't mean you're alone. So you still have people around you who you're accountable for.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah, sure.
But I think I have
Yeah, that's
more.
a big one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have people that I am necessarily that I have to answer to.
Sure.
Like I could, if I'm staying with my mom, then I answer to her.
Yeah.
But if I'm staying by myself, I don't have to answer much to anybody.
Yeah.
And I think that there is that freedom,
Yeah.
you know, to do stuff, to do more of the things that you want to specifically do. You don't have to compromise so much.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. And I think that is a very sobering reality for people who might even idolize marriage. There's certain freedoms you gain with marriage,
Yeah.
but there's also freedoms that you lose.
Really?
Yeah. And vice versa again.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
in being
Just
single.
never thought about that one. Yeah.
Yeah, when you're single, there's freedoms that you have, but then there's other things that you're missing out on, you know.
What's been the highlight of being married, though? Or like one of the highlights?
Yeah. Sheesh. Actually, never been asked that before. Highlight of
Well,
being...
Lily is a highlight.
Yeah. 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 I think the highlight has been seeing... Obviously, this I knew would happen. How my wife's struggles, her joys, her being a human that's alive, how all of that is going to rub up against my existence in life and how that's going to change me. I didn't know how it will change me. I knew it's going to change me. I didn't know how it's going to change me. But I think...
Well, I would have
Yeah.
never thought that. I never thought that your person changes you.
Yeah, no, they do.
Wow.
No,
Like,
they do.
but it's such an obvious thing.
Yeah, they do. And I think it's this idea again of becoming one. And I always describe marriage as a becoming. Like you don't become. Right? Yeah, in some big spiritual sense, the day we said I do, we became one.
Yes.
But on earth, day to day, practical, lived out experience, we are becoming one. And that process will forever happen until one of us dies or Jesus comes back.
Right.
You know, so there's never a point where I could say, we've become one.
Yes, yeah.
Because I don't know who she is at 40. I don't know who she is at 50.
Sure.
I don't know who she is with 2 kids. I know who she is with 1 kid.
Wow.
She didn't know me as a father before.
Yeah.
So the process, marriage is that. It is a process of becoming one. And we are
See,
gonna...
this is what we need to hear.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I think that's
Yeah.
why people love this podcast because
Yeah.
you're hearing things where you're like,
Yeah.
yeah. Like we forget as single people that you are not here to stay the same. I think
Yeah.
the thing about being single and older is you want to stay the same. You're
Yeah.
set in your ways now.
Ooh,
You know
you
what I'm
settled.
saying?
Yes.
So
Yes.
that is a
Yes.
very real reality
Yes.
that
Yeah.
this thing, you know, it's in our stages, boy.
Yes.
You know? So it's going up and wow.
Hundreds.
Sheesh.
Yeah, I think I was saying with the highlight
Yeah.
is I think I'm just naturally chilled, and I've never thought of that as a blessing for
Okay.
my character, which it is. Like
Yeah.
I don't think I'm just a naturally chilled person because I made myself that way. I think it's a blessing. It's part of my my character, and that has helped me navigate life, navigate
Okay.
my work, how
Yeah.
I deal with people, etc. And so sometimes when we are called to be gracious, I was like, yeah, it just comes natural to me, like because I'm chilled, I can be gracious towards people. But I think being married to my wife and just her own struggles,
Yeah.
joys, all of that stuff rubbing up against me, has changed my approach to being kind and gracious. To
Okay.
not just say, because I'm naturally calm and chilled. That's what being gracious is. But now I've realized that there is an intentionality and a kind of grace and a kind of kindness that you were speaking about that I need to employ in my job, this podcast, obviously in our marriage, towards my child as a father, and how I deal with people, you know. So I think the highlight right now currently is how my wife has made me intentionally gracious, has made me intentionally kind, and think about it.
Yeah.
You know, so before it was like, I'm kind because that's who I am. Or I'm kind because, you know, with black people, man, you have to be kind. Like, that's Ubuntu, right?
Yeah.
But then I'm like...
Imagine we're forced to be kind.
That's just who you are. You're black, you kind, right? but I think, the highlights of marriage is, especially recently, has been that where I'm like, oh, smack, like this woman has made me to be very intentional about grace and kindness, you know.
That's something I would have actually sincerely would have never thought that.
Yeah.
I don't know why, I just never thought you change in marriage. Like, I don't get why I even thought that way, because it's like, even with friendships, you change, you're bound to change, you know? So that's, And I think that's a big thing though, Black. I think that's something I've really also appreciated about you, is that it wasn't just about caring for your wife and your child and your sister, who I guess are of value to you as a man, but you care about community and women which are not attached to your status.
Sure.
And I think that's a big thing when it comes to marriage, that it's great to be around men who don't just value you based on your status towards them, you know, or I'll only take...
Did you put that out on a status recently?
I don't know.
Okay.
But if it's a quote, well, it's my quote now.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's really great when like somebody takes
I
you
remember
home.
what the quote is. Sorry, it said, don't respect women that you don't only respect women that you're attracted to.
Yeah, you know.
Respect all women.
Yeah. And I think, but that's for all people, right? Because you can't only respect men who are well off.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And then the other one's like, hey, you know? So I think that's, and I think it comes out in like small moments of dropping off a friend. She's a lady who's a friend, and you don't just speed off with your car. You know what I'm saying? Like, you actually are concerned that she's actually entering the house.
Somebody did that.
Yeah, they've done it to me too. I'm like, yeah. That's why I said this dating world is rough. Ubuntu was like, you know, pro women, drop you off, gone. Like, if I die here.
Somebody might kill me at the gate.
Yeah, so it's. I think that's also cool for I guess, I suppose, married people, you know, to remember to just be, like, care for people in general.
Sure.
You know, not just people which are, you know, and also for single people, you know.
Yeah. That's
Don't
dope.
just care for your single friends.
Yeah, man. Sune, thanks for pulling through. Thanks for being a friend of the podcast and watching, supporting.
Yes.
I didn't even know, bro.
No,
There's people in the shadows here who never comment.
And I don't.
But every episode.
You know what? I really have to say, I'm not too sure that I've subscribed. Yeah, that's my problem. That is my problem. I'm a binge watcher. Like, I love Casper Nyovest.
Yeah.
I love Tina Turner. I won't go to their concert.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm with you there.
You know? So I need to.
Because I'm afraid of crowds.
Me too.
Yeah.
It's like, or like,
afraid of
you know
crowds.
what? It's not even crowds. I'm a quack.
Yeah.
I'm going to be under somebody's makwa pen. Never. No. So I'm going to subscribe. This is a dope podcast.
Thank you.
Very, very dope.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, man. 2.5. We'll see you on the flip side. All right. Peace.